Oops. That's unfortunate. God damn it. That fucking dump cakes. Bro. Yeah. God damn it. Like, how fucking lazy are Americans actually that to the point that's a fucking product? Yeah. I mean, fair enough. True, true. True. Yeah, I mean, when you're old, I guess. You do be old. I'm just gonna preemptively pour a little mixer. Slightly stronger than usual, just for the occasion. Hmm. Yeah, your alcohol stream is looking dangerously bloody, Sneaky. Should maybe fix that. Yeah. Here we go. Of course.
Let's
No
begin.
cringe may escape.
No cringe may escape this premise.
For if
The
it does, it will haunt the
extreme
house.
settings have been activated. Hello, Internet. It's SneakyDevil, and it's time for Fanfiction Contempt Theater 9004, episode 70. We got
Goddamn.
an anemic amount of people showing up here tonight. So what we're gonna do instead is look at some real cringe. You know, you might be asking, how is that different from normal? I'm gonna be drunk this time. You might also be asking, how is that different from normal? Ha, joke's on you. I haven't been drunk in a while.
Well, proper drunk. And well, by your standards.
Yeah.
You know,
by
actually feeling the alcohol.
Standards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is fair.
Yeah. So we're gonna start off with this story, so Arn can get properly aggravated.
Excellent.
LinkedIn.
Oh god, not fucking wait. I might have read this one. I recognize that fucking name. Oh god. I'm gonna have to break out even more alcohol for this, aren't I?
Alright, and that's been properly moved over, so I can minimize that now. Let's get started.
Yeah. It's this fucking, isn't it? Oh no.
Oi, 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 oi.
Ah.
Oi, 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 oi. Alright, let's get going. Oh, so before we actually get started, I do want to start off with the story today, right? So, I've been reading more Percy Jackson, of course, obviously. I finished that one story that I've been working on. It's been going for like 6 years now.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a lot of the tropes that are very popular in Percy Jackson, but honestly, I felt that in the end, the author handled them well enough for them to not be an active detriment to the story. They're just a passive detriment to the story.
Yeah. So you're not like actively hunting them?
Yeah, so it's like if you don't like that trope, you can just get away with not reading it, or maybe even ignore it if you like the rest of the story. And
Yeah.
it's not like actively cringe where you're just like, I want to gouge my eyeballs out with how, like, you know, just because he worked out, he has the body of a 5-year-old, so it's okay. You know, it's not that, you know.
Yeah. It's not that tier, but like.
Yeah, it was tolerable.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I did finish that, and I moved on to another story, which has been completed, and it's been completed for a long time now, which is amusing because I'm looking at a lot of other stories that were written after this one started being written, and I'm noticing a lot of other stories had been lifting almost word for word scenarios from this one.
Ah, yes.
I'm just like, wow.
A trailblazer, I guess.
Yeah, wow. This seems very familiar, as I say as I continue reading. But this one's actually been completed, which is the only reason why I'm bothering to read it, despite it being so old. So that's nice. But so let's get started tonight with the Harry Potter story we got lined up. This is a Holly Potter, and by the name, you can probably understand where this is going in this story.
I already know where it's going.
So said you've read this before?
I have read far too many words of it. I think I got like 10 or 11 chapters in. And my mental state has never been the same.
Oh, really? It's that?
Well, I mean, it's not like the worst thing I've ever read, but it is not good. Yeah. The smell of pain.
I'm just smelling some of the whiskey I poured.
Fair enough. Oh god.
Yeah, alright, let's go. Harry Potter by Wordhammer.
Oh no. When even fucking Andros avoids a fic, you know shit's bad.
And I've always avoided it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pre-5th year. Harry Potter is visited by a woman claiming to be his magical Aunt Holly.
Yeah.
I see why this got added to the list. Except she can't cast spells or keep her hands off of him.
Yeah.
Or stay out of trouble. Holly plans to teach Power the true power of having a destiny, or she'll die trying.
Yeah.
What does that have? So she's sexually attracted to Harry. She can't cast magic, and she constantly gets into hijinks. And she's gonna teach Harry about his destiny powers?
Yeah. Also, spoiler alert. It's not Holy Potter, it's Holy Polter. Which is sort of a big plot point that she's actually a fucking poltergeist or some shit.
Oh, Holly Poulter. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of blind. Yeah.
Yeah, like it. For what it's worth, I haven't really seen anyone pull it the same way this story goes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing, to be quite honest with you.
Holly times Harry times maybe more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Incest?
Sorta, kinda, in a way. There is some bullshit I don't remember.
Incest?
Very carefully.
Of course, my bad.
Nah, but like, I don't remember, because I'm not drunk enough to remember or forget.
Fair. That's fair, yeah.
But yeah, like there is some bullshit going down later in the story.
Special edit for fanfiction. This version has been especially edited to remove all of the sex bits to allow the story to be the focus. The explicit porn cut can be found on Archive of Our Own. Wow, yeah. Just another reason to the list of reasons why Archive of Our Own needs to be deleted. Yep. Note for veteran readers, this story is an interlude to the next story, The Spiral Path. I am actually religiously offended by this.
Excellent.
I will call jihad upon this woman.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
God.
I will learn Arabic phrases specifically to just shout angrily.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Well, I mean, hey, in this environment.
True. True. I mean, I wouldn't do it over in the States, because, you know, you might get shot.
No.
Like, well, alright,
depending on where you are. Job is what might happen.
Well, depending on where you are. Like, if you go to, like, small town, Midwest somewhere, and shout Arabic phrases at the top of your lungs.
No, I meant for the podcast, not for, like, real life. I wouldn't shout Arabic phrases in real life. Unless it was against a lefty. I would absolutely shout Arabic at a lefty.
Alright, fair enough. Google Translate. Time to learn some examples, I guess.
Time to learn some examples. So anyway, awareness gathers like mist collecting in a valley. So, scattered, diffuse, and easily vaporized?
Yeah.
A vague presence coalesces into an identity which desires form. The thumping pulse of continuity's audience listens and responds as it is compelled to when it hears so lucid a request. A template is found, relevant to the voice, and the gratifying to the audience in echoing the themes that it remembers hearing from another thread of time, place, texture. And God mused, this ought to be fun. Allah upon you!
Hang on. Al-Maut lil Kufar. That means death to heretics. Well, infidels.
I mean, the way you said it, though, it sounds like you're casting a fucking spell.
True. I can't really sound angry when I shout. It just doesn't work.
Just
So it's
imagine
more
you're
like,
speaking German.
I curse you. Yeah, true. Well, I mean, German, Arabic. At this point, what's the difference?
Do you think they teach Arabic as a secondary language in Germany now?
I mean, if you look in the right places, yeah. More likely than not.
Holly awoke in the darkness to the chirping of crickets and the hum of air conditioner compressors. Just say air conditioners. You don't have to say the compressors. The night air was hot and dense with humidity. She felt groggy, soggy, and if she wasn't mistaken, there were lawn clippings sticking to her bare skin. She sat up and took stock, flicking her fingers out to dislodge some of the grass. Somehow, I expected my post-mortem destination to be more painful and drier.
Okay.
The flicker of street lamps threw the shadows into the garden where she sat. Holly looked around for a landmark, a sign, or some other indicator of her location. For her, there were too many. The rusted tools tucked into a bucket behind the rubbish bins, the polished garden bench, the double locks on the shed, the plots of flowers, ornamental grasses arranged just so. She knew this garden as if she had tilled and planted it herself. It's Privet Drive.
Oh no.
What? Wait.
Who could have
Was that
seen
a
this coming?
description in Harry Potter books? And you're just like, yeah. Despite dying and being a scattered consciousness for an unknown amount of time, I actually perfectly remember the Harry Potter books, and therefore know I'm now in Harry Potter.
No, this isn't an OC. At least not to this story.
What do you mean this isn't an OC?
Oh well, a self-insert is what I meant. Sorry.
Well, this is absolutely a self-insert.
Yeah, but not into this story, because if you scrolled up to the other snot again, you'd see the other story, Spiral Path or whatever, where this character is first introduced. Right?
No, Spiral Path is the next story.
No?
Yeah. Yeah, following as this. Oh, sorry. For this story follows as an interlude at the end of the currently incomplete story of the Spiraled Path.
As I was saying.
Yeah. All right. So Spiraled Path. So we got this is the Spiraled Path. I really don't like how they use Helix here. This is just completely offensive to me.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ. Okay, so Holly Evans in the Spiraled Path. God, this is just like a whole fucking series, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Holly Evans in the Spiraled Path. Holly is prickly and poisonous like her namesake. Only with Hermione is she more normal. Dark and disturbed girl Harry tells her story via enchanted journals. And she goes down the Spiraled Path, which I really doubt, because the Spiraled Path is a religious journey, and I don't think this author was aiming for that.
Yeah, no.
Continuing the Harry Potter story, Holly Evans in the Spiraled Path, Bi Girl Harry is Riddle's nemesis. Having fought into adulthood, she's building a conspiracy using the Spiral Mark. Bizarre, violent, sexy, and complex. I would like to note that the Spiraled Path had a runtime of 2011 to 2013 and was never completed. Likely because the author, and despite the fact that this author had multiple more stories, updating all the way to May of 2019. So 7 years after they stopped updating the Spiraled Path, they still updated Harry Potter.
Yeah, alright, so Spiral Path is an SCP apparently.
What?
That's what I'm getting.
Link it.
Sure. Hang on.
The garland, the garden was full of lavender and violets because of the purple prose.
Yeah.
The Spiral Path, SCP-01. Oh, that was an original SCP.
Apparently. I know barely shit about SCP. I just fucking Googled the spiral path.
Yeah, so basically SCPs go by number as they were created.
Yeah.
So the oldest SCP is the lowest number.
I'm aware. But
In order to prevent knowledge of SCP-01 from being released, no false SCP-15 from created along with true false. All files concerning the nature of SCP-1, including decoys, are protected by mimetic kill agents designed to cause immediate cardiac arrest to any unauthorized
yes.
access. We got Spiral Path. Mimetic kill agent, continued life science confirmed, removing safety interlocks. Welcome authorized personnel. Here's your desired files.
Yeah, codename Dr. Man. Like, 6th one, I think. From the top.
What have I just walked into?
We're doing minor research.
SCP.
That's not the one, I think. It was the 6th one on the list.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Dr. Man's Spiral Path.
Yep.
SCP-01 is contained on the ground of Site 0 in upstate Redacted. A fence has been constructed around the perimeter of SCP-1 observed effects. In addition to Site 0 security, no fewer than 5 armed guards will be present. The adjoining physics laboratory will be manned at all hours, studying all anomalies. A small metal plaque bearing an inscription will be maintained in good quality. Any damage is to be immediately reported. SCP-1 is a circular gravel path in a wooded area. When traveled in a counterclockwise direction, the trail is continuously uphill even after reaching the original point. When traveled in a clockwise direction, the trail shows the same amount of uphill and downhill travel as expected.
Neat.
Wait, so why is this so...
I have no idea. I just think that's what they ripped off. For the name, at least.
I mean, it's possible.
Or some Buddhist thing. I don't know.
Oh man, they got some big ass. This is back in the day when they put a lot of work into the creation of SCPs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, what you walked into, Max, was this author taking Helix's name in vain and creating some really shit fan fiction about it.
I'm sure you took to that well.
I took to that great. So anyway, point being is that basically, so this author had their first story, which they completed at 400k words. So they wrote 4 books for their first story. Pretty good. And then they made their sequel story, where it fast forwards in time, and it's now adult female Harry Potter fighting Riddle, and she's creating her own Illuminati to do it. Now that story is dead at only half a book long. And then they created a sequel to that story, despite it being dead, for over 2 years from the point they made the sequel, called Holly Poulter. And this is where dead Holly Potter from the previous story ends up getting reincarnated by the Abrahamic God because he thought it would be funny.
Yeah.
Into the Harry Potter canon universe.
Yep. Pain.
So yeah, a bunch of cringe ass shit. And honestly, I don't really feel like reading it because there's nothing going on here. She finds out that Harry exists in this universe, and she goes through her memories and then tells the readers how her memories actually went. And then just breaks into the house casually and just looks down at her alternative universe self.
Yeah.
And watches him sleep.
Bit creepy, but alright.
So I would also like to say, Max, that this story's intro is Harry is visited by a woman claiming to be his magical aunt Holly, except she can't cast spells or stop molesting him.
Mm.
It's going to
Yeah.
be a Holly times Harry times other people's story.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's this is like beyond. This is like Hyperborean Alabama, where we have the main character having sex with her alternative universe self, who is the opposite sex.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it was so bad that the author felt the need to edit out all of the sex bits and put it into an archive of our own story, separate from this one.
Yep.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just going to not gonna do that one. Instead, let's do a Ranma DxD crossover. This is gonna be
I want death.
oh no.
Oh no.
Off to a great start.
Oh my god. Okay, thankfully it's only like really tiny.
Yeah, there's 18 chapters and 18,000 words.
Yeah, thank god.
Wait, it's still updating? Wait, what?
Wait,
This story is
almost
5 years
years.
old, and he's only
Oh my-
got 18 chapters of 1,000 words each?
Oh no, hang on. Chapter 8 is just an author's note, Sneaky.
Oh no. Oh no.
It's literally
There's only
once.
17 chapters?
Oh my god. Oh no. Hang on. Is he fucking serious? Every single chapter, he puts a list of all the reviewers at the top to thank them. And also everyone who fucking favorites and adds them to alerts.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
half of this dude's word count has got to be just the people who have favorited and followed the story.
No.
Yeah.
That's no,
That
don't
is-
do that,
that is-
man.
Also, I
That's
feel
inflated word count. That's not okay.
I feel like that. I feel. I feel like this is a big call out. I feel like this is a big call out.
I mean, they did it to themselves, so yeah. Oh, God.
So, reader of good fan fiction, please tell me, why did you favorite and follow this story?
You know what? I'm gonna fucking go look them up. I don't care. Oh, boy,
Oh, man.
So, what have they created?
There's no such thing as a free agent queen. I guess this is a DxD. Oh, this is chapter 9. You can't have two queens and one peerage. This is a canon fact. It's just like chess.
Oh my god.
I love how this person has taken the time to not only read this story, but criticize the guy's complete canon unadherence, despite the fact that this dude has clearly put zero fucking effort into writing this story.
Well, also, I like that this
Yeah.
reviewer doesn't actually know the rules of chess.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Because promotion is, in fact, a rule that is played at almost every level.
Yeah.
And
there's all the
I
thing
think
in
he
DxD.
means that you can't start with two queens.
Oh,
I
sure.
mean,
You can't.
fair.
Well, I'm okay. That's not technically true. There are variations, but those are when you're
Yeah.
really bored. But for the most part, yeah, you can't start with two queens.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: for all we know,
Mhm.
Issei was upgraded to queen for some reason instead of king. We don't know.
What? No, there is no king
Actually,
piece.
That's the thing I was about to say. I actually don't know if kings even exist in DxD for that.
They do
I mean,
sort
I
of.
don't
So
give a shit.
basically,
theoretically.
the king piece exists as a plot point. So basically, the original chess pieces were created, and the original idea was that the person who was going to control the chess set of devils was going to get the king piece, and it was going to be similar to the queen piece, except give a power-up of a little bit higher grade than the queen piece. Because, you know, you got to keep your high-level devil to be stronger than all of the devils they're empowering, otherwise they'll just revolt.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And then
the
it turns
answer-
out that the king piece gave too strong of a power-up to the high-level devils that used it. And it was disproportionately overpowered. And so the Satan decided that, holy shit, no, we actually can't give this piece out because people can basically just abuse the massive level of power up that it gives. Instead, so they made this king stone where people connect their pieces to themselves instead of a king piece that they personally connect to.
okay.
And then
So the answer to my question of do they exist or do they not is yes, no matter how you look at it. That's
and then they were all collected and destroyed, except like the top 5 players of the chess rankings in the demon world are actually all king piece users who have secretly acquired steroids.
yes, of course.
True.
The greatest of
So
advantages.
just like normal sports.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It's true.
And it was a big plot point where they discovered this whole king piece conspiracy and yada yada yada. But basically, no. Each chess set is magically structured so in a way that you can only have 2 bishops, 2 rooks, 2 knights, 1 queen, 8 pawns. Like if you try to have more than that, one of the 2 things will happen is that one person will get rejected. Either the person who already has the piece or the person you're giving the piece to.
Yeah.
So it's magically impossible by the standards of canon for 2 queen pieces to be on the same chess set at the start. Because the pawns can promote to queen during battle, but that's a temporary effect.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah. So they are correct by the standards of DxD canon, but yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, this is a reader of good fanfiction guy.
Yeah.
Clearly
Does not
not a
read
reader
good
of good
fanfiction.
Yeah, no, I mean, his favorite, let's see, Parcacious, VF Snake, Vimes, a few others. that were
Holy
in
shit,
nice.
Andros. So Andros says the only DxD fix where Issei gets a queen piece instead of being promoted to queen during battle as a pawn were a bad smut fix where the queen piece was used to justify turning Issei into a girl so we can have Yuri shenanigans. Wow. I mean, okay, fair enough, I suppose, but wow.
I'm not surprised this is coming
Yeah.
from the DxD fandom.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, it would be.
Diana by Alaska says, with her portrait, with her profile pic being her real life photo. Well, this character is named Ranko. I do not feel it is a crossover with Ranma. There has been a few lines hinting Ranko being de-aged, but at least so far the connection is very thin. Yeah, I know, 17 chapters in and the author hasn't established anything. Really big shocker when each chapter is only 500 fucking words.
Yeah.
It would be kind of nice to have a chapter with a beginning, maybe before all the time skips, and where we could actually get some sort of identity on the characters. I had hoped the time skips would awaken Ranko's memories, rather than turning her into a bigger blank slate. Being stuck as a girl, she'll never be able to return to her mom, and is much weaker due to her young age and has many enemies, so it feels safer to hide away as Ranko. Since I never saw hints of in-canon Ranma actually being gender dysphoric, actually, they were really not. I mean, while you could argue that Ranma had toxic masculinity, and that was one of the few. That is actually one of the few general times I will say that could be even uttered for a because that was kind of a plot point where his father taught him to be really just a terrible representation of what a guy is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no. But actually, yeah, that wasn't ever an issue that came up, having gender dysphoria in
No,
that. I wonder
he was quite explicitly not okay with being a girl.
Oh,
Like,
oh no, yeah, no, there was no confusion at all.
yeah, no, there was no confusion or ever wanting to be curious or anything. There was none of that sort. Because once they even moved past the whole like toxic masculinity arc, which was a majority of Ranma, he still didn't want to be a girl. Like, once he moved past the whole girls are weak and, disgusting phase and moved on to the whole, like, just be a normal person phase, he didn't stop not wanting to be a girl. He continued not wanting to be a girl.
Continue being based.
Yeah. He just became a better human being.
Yeah.
Became more based.
But, yeah, it's...
Yeah.
Ranma issues with gender seemed more external than internal, with pressures from the family. Yeah, no, he did actually, yeah. It makes sense that Ranko would fall. It makes sense that Ranko would fall for Issei.
Issei is like the perfect example of the kind of males that Ranma didn't like. Because
Yeah.
his dad was one of those.
Yeah.
And he gave his dad shit for it all the time.
Also, he gave the boys who peeked on the girls shit in canon. He didn't like that either. He thought that was dishonorable and gross.
Yeah, and so assuming that we still have a fairly similar personality for Ronko, she would be the first to kick his ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Without any
More
questions
like break
whatsoever.
his ass. Somehow Ranma would find a way.
Shatter his ass bones.
In canon, Ranma-chan feels like a schoolgirl with a crush when it comes to dealing with Ryoga. And I honestly think Ranma times Ryoga should have been the canon pairing. Well, she is a woman, and that says a lot. Because if anyone's aware of how much gay porn women create...
True.
It's a lot. There's a
lot
of gay... And it's not just all men on men. A lot of the gay women porn is made by women.
Yeah.
This is just a little fun fact I always love telling people. Is the top nude female body mods for Skyrim, Fallout, and a bunch of other games that allow it. They're all made by women.
Yep. Imagine that. Women are horny too.
Yes, turns out women are horny too.
Who could have seen this coming?
But yeah, it is it's actually extremely cringe how often I see women just completely not understand what a friendship is.
Yeah.
Not even just people in general.
Like, so I in the Discord I actually linked a video Jesus Christ. Hello, everyone. I downloaded fanfiction stories. Oh, Christ, that's cringe as hell. So I actually linked a video yesterday. No, today, this morning. Explicitly this morning at 12 a.m.
No, morning. Yeah.
That a lady decided to try and quote-unquote help her brother. They're both, you know, like in the 30s-ish. Explicitly tried to help her brother with the dating scene because he was quote-unquote just doing it wrong. And quickly became depressed because she was managing his Tinder profile and tried to put everything in the profile that she thought other women would want to see. And was shocked to discover that she never got a match, and that women would 9 out of 10 times never even initiate conversation or respond to her attempts at initiating conversation.
Yeah.
And that the 1 out of 10 times they did, after the first couple of interactions over text, they would quickly stop interacting. And she was shocked by this discovery because she can so easily find matches day in and day out on Tinder without even trying. And she was shocked by the fact that her decent-looking brother with an okay job and a good, decent, you know, healthy body, tall, couldn't manage to get a date. And yeah, then he goes into some other studies and shit where that's just a fundamental world difference. Apparently, if we're gonna extrapolate from that, I can go off some archive of our own stories where I know women have definitely written that story, where there is no male friendships in these stories. There is not a single interaction the men have in these stories that aren't somehow sexually laced. Because apparently women don't understand that guys can just be friends.
Yeah. Fucking Tumblr, man.
Yeah.
Mind poison.
It really is. It really, really is. That one classic Tumblr post is always great. It's a queer platonic relationship. You mean friends? No, like someone that you would really go out there and do things with. So best friends?
Yeah. Fucking hell.
It hurts. It is pain.
Suffering eternal.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It really is. So anyway, let's get into this riveting riveting story of ours. Chapter 1. A redhead girl around 6 to 7 years old recalled the first memory that she has. What? This is a wild way to start a story. After this story, I do want to get into something that Orf had sent me.
That sounds great.
This is not a way to start your story. Like, yes, this 7-year-old girl is just casually recalling their first memory. It's like, yeah, 7-year-old girls
being beaten the fuck up.
Historically known for being extremely introspective.
Of course.
That being an older guy. I don't like where that's going.
It's going fucking somewhere, that's for sure.
With what seemed like fangs and a bandana punching her in the gut so hard she threw up the contents of her stomach. Strangely enough, the only thing she saw while kneeling over her, holding her stomach, was what looked like to be a mushroom surrounded by what she could only guess was some kind of water. Looking at the fanged guy at her with such rage, she scrambled to her feet and just starting running, tripping a bit, but she nevertheless continued run. Her head was hurting as well as if someone had aggressively rubbed her head. She just ran and continued running as if the only stop for a short time to readjust the vast oversized clothes she was wearing. That was only after she got the hell out of whatever city she was in and found some place that she at least hoped was safe. Not wanting to take any chances, as the rage she saw on that guy's face shook her to the core for some reason. Once she had finished the readjusting of her clothes, she kept running until she eventually stopped running and thought that this was far enough that they could not follow her this far. Wait, is this still a memory?
Fucking what?
is this a memory, or are we moving on to the actual narrative?
I think it's a memory.
After that, she was wandering
Yeah.
around aimless until she ran into guy with black hair and golden bangs and black goatee. Wait. Double colored, okay. Though she at first tried fighting against the guy, that easily dealt with her. Then they told her to go about learning martial arts more. She could be considered a prodigy if she did that. Just like another girl he aware of, apparently named Ranko. When the guy learned she could not recall her name herself, she was told why not to use that one. And so from there I traveled around learning what I could from various places until we all meet that day that we meet. You two know the rest from there, Ranko said, done explaining her story.
Wait.
Huh? Short brown hair boy with brown eye and tomboy girl with chestnut hair and violet eye were giving Ranko their full attention as she finished. That all really happened to you, Ranko? Yup, though I do not really recall the first part, Arana. Are you okay? The boy asked. Why would you be asking me that? I have both of you with me now, so I am not alone anymore. That guy from start of your memories, you seem pretty scared of them. Me scared of them, come on, Issei. You should know me better than that by now, Ranko told him with a laugh. Though that exactly why he asked, as he noticed thing about her and how she seemed to avoid certain things when they were either out playing or just relaxing in either his or Irana's house. Though he was not going to push her, as that's something the both of them would not do. Issei and Arana found Ranko as she was relaxing by herself in the park one day after having come to Kuo Town. She had originally just was stopping over here in the town on her way to somewhere, though she decided to stay after meeting the two of them and had more fun with them than traveling around. They were not trying to get anything from her or use her for something. She was just able to be herself and act without a care in the world. Which child is this respective? I have no fucking idea. I don't know what. Yeah, just.
Yeah, I think Aura's right in that she found and fucking tried to punch Azazel for some reason.
I mean, me.
But, like, what the actual goddamn fuck is this narrative?
Yeah, I don't know. So
I'm gonna make a statement here. It's not a narrative. It's hallucination.
So I am not gonna be able to show this on stream.
Cool.
Because it is quite an identifying work. But I'll read bits of it out loud from what I have acquired.
Oh boy. Orpheus sent this, you said?
So Orf and I were discussing, a couple days ago, yesterday. Orf and I were discussing how he is disgusted by his peers in his college, which apparently the teacher is running a peer review system where you have to upload certain sections of parts of your paper and have it be reviewed by your classmates. And then this is open to anyone, and everyone has to do at least 2.
Yes.
So, anyway, Orf decided he was going to click on this guy's works and decided to read this, and then he was absolutely disgusted by what was written here. And I said, come on now, it can't certainly be worse than a fanfiction author. And he said, really? And sent the file to me.
Oh,
So
why?
this paper, this one-page paper, is supposed to be about the credibility of the sources they are using in their paper. So it's supposed to be a little blurb saying why their main sources are considered credible for the usage of whatever they're covering. So like, yeah, this person is like a good source for me because they are, you know, a deacon of the faith I'm, you know, researching, and they've produced multiple religious books, or are famous for these texts, or, you know, are high up in the order, etc., right?
Yeah.
So, this is how the paper starts. He starts off by naming the book that he's citing, writing all of the author names, and then saying, this is an article written by accomplished researchers. In the credibility section. In the paper, he's supposed to tell people why they're credible. He starts off the credibility by saying, well, you see, they do things.
They are credible.
They're credible because they do things. The best
Education at its
evidence,
finest.
I
the
do
best
things as well.
evidence to indicate this credibility of doing things was when they mentioned that they work on things. Quote, more recently, blah, 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 end quote. They later named the article they wrote about the experiment they were writing about to the magazine they wrote about. They continue that same paragraph to describing the study and how it functioned. They later then referenced the study. That's how you know they're credible.
Amazing. And they reference the study.
They referenced the study.
What the fuck? How are we supposed to compete with this kind of
This
fucking...
demonstrates that the authors are versed in research and exploring human behavior.
Ah, yes. They referenced an article.
Yes, they referenced the
Wow,
article.
that's fucking amazing.
Which means they're clearly good at doing research if they were able to reference an article.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Next paragraph. The author wrote the article I am covering to highlight the various elements that make up leaders. They explain that after the rise of dictators, society looked for aspects besides charisma to choose leaders. As if somehow, until the point of dictators taking over in World War II, society just only looked for charisma from their leaders.
That is
That's all we did.
by far the
only the most charismatic.
Humans are stupid like that, don't you know?
Definitely
Most
not the
retarded
people that
thing I've heard
conquered
in
the
a while.
most. We didn't pay attention to them. They didn't matter. Only the people who talked nice.
Yeah, or the people who were in direct line of succession with the people who conquered.
Yeah. It's weird how that works.
Yeah.
Leaders such as Muhammad and Jorge W. Bush are leaders who dress in clothes that common people wear.
Wait, hang on. Is that how they spelled it?
Yes,
or are you
they
just
spelled it
being you?
Jorge.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
I wish I was kidding. They're using Muhammad and Jorge W. Bush as an example of leaders that are charismatic.
I would personally not pick either of those.
Yeah,
for that
no.
charisma.
Well, no, because aspects besides charisma.
Wait, but didn't you reason it? And what were you saying? Like they dress in normal people clothes?
Yes. The sentence reads: leaders such as Muhammad and Jorge W. Bush are leaders who dress in clothing that the common people wear. And he spelt the wrong wear. He spelt it where as in over there or here.
Oh, God.
Leaders like Abraham Lincoln had amazing communication skills. and was able to rally people by speaking.
Wait, so he was charismatic?
Yes.
Hmm.
Also, Abraham
Must be a
Lincoln
dictator
came
then.
before the age of dictators. Like,
Yes.
there are many aspects that make up a good leader. And this article points out good ones.
Oh my god.
That's the end of this credibility paper. So, are you guys convinced that this article that they're using as a source is credible yet?
Oh, fucking Christ.
The researchers do things, and they research stuff, and that's how you know they're credible at being researchers, because they cite stuff sometimes.
Well, Sneaky, you do know you gotta trust the science, right?
Of course, my bad. So anyway, so a part of this peer review is you are not permitted to criticize someone else's paper. In university, you are not permitted to offer constructive review or criticism of someone else's paper. Yeah.
Pain. Oh god.
Yeah. So, in case anyone was wondering, Sneaky, why do you constantly complain about fanfiction? This is why I constantly complain about fanfiction, because we have people like this that are going on to become academians. Guy can't even fucking spell the right where when talking about Jorge Bush.
God damn it.
Oh, and apparently this guy responded to Orf's paper that he submitted, saying that Orf intellectually structured his paper quite well.
Someone has a thesaurus on hand.
Yeah.
Oh, god. Yeah. Fucking Christ.
This is what the public education system has done to people.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And this is why I rail against this shit so hard.
Yeah.
So let's get another good story in here. Got an hour left.
Great. That's just positively fantastic,
why?
to be honest with you.
Oh no, dude, Percy Jackson in the game. Oh wait, did we already cover this? I feel like we covered this.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I'm just trying to find more. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
And I want to die.
How about, did we do a Naruto story yet?
Not today. No.
This is a highly popular Naruto story, so let's cover this one.
Oh, Fahad 09. That sounds familiar. I think I heard that name before. Wait.
You. I recognize you. You are the Gray Fox!
Oh boy,
CA
you're
linked
under
this back in
arrest.
2018, apparently.
yeah, he dumped a fuckload of shit fix.
So there's every chance that this hasn't been covered then, if that was part of it, if that was something he linked, because we don't always look at those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we looked at this one. If I didn't
oh my-
link it,
wait.
then we didn't look at it.
Yeah, damn. Wait. 3 years and 3 days since this was linked last. Damn.
Damn,
Oh,
Jesus
God.
Christ. Almost exactly 3 years since this was linked. God damn.
Yeah.
Are we good at getting through our backlog?
I mean,
Yeah,
had you done this on Tuesday, it would have been dead on.
No, it's better than my Steam backlog, that's
it
for sure.
only took us 3 fucking years.
Yeah. God.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna be right back.
Alright, so this is Naruto and the world of monsters. When I was first reincarnated, I did the first thing any self-respecting man would do in my place. Check to see if I had balls. I did. Excellent. The next thing I did was try and get my hands on power. True power. Oh man, yeah, but Max, he's feeling motivated.
He is
I
the storm.
Huh?
He is the storm.
Yes, he is the storm that is approaching. I chose the Rinnegan, and if I have to kill people to get it, then, well, there was a war going on, and I don't think anyone's gonna notice an extra body turning up. So it's 14 chapters, about 10k words each. It's quite impressive, honestly, all things considered. And it's got an update rate of 5 years. So that's roughly, see, 12 months in a year, 5 years, 60 months, 14 chapters in 60 months. That's like, what? I can't math right now. I'm a little bit tipsy.
I'm sure as hell not mathing. My brain is fucking fried. I think those days are long behind us, Sneaky. Well, they're long behind me at least. I mean the like chapter.
Oh boy. Good luck. Well, actually, Gray's kind of good at that.
Yeah, Gray seems like he doesn't require much prodding.
Yeah. Okay, most of the time it's him asking me, to be honest. So yeah.
So the problem here is that Arn has no self-control.
No, the problem is like I have a lot of free time and nothing better to do. Of course.
Oh boy.
I perceive. I mean, he is fairly prolific. Yeah, most of his stories are rather popular, so unsurprising. Thank God.
Okay.
Yeah. You do a little
Yeah.
trolling.
Well, if you really wanted access to Renegon, you'd have to do it presumably when the village was still in its infancy, which would put them in their 70s by the time the main Naruto events occur. Like they'd be
Hmm.
they need to be they would no, they would need to be Saratobi's age. Well, the Renegon hasn't been seen for like, let's see. Madara
I
was
mean,
Madara was the last time the Renegon was seen until
pain.
Pain showed up. What was his name?
Pain
Was
Petrol.
his name Nagato?
Yeah.
Nagato did. That's
Yeah.
I'm
I think
aware,
so.
but
I don't
I don't.
fucking remember.
I'm trying to remember how that occurred.
You do a little trolling. True.
Actually, when did I'm trying to remember how he unlocked the Renegon during that fight? Oh right, he was just
Yeah.
born with it, wasn't he? I don't
Yeah.
remember. It's been so long. It has been so fucking long.
Uh,
You also have to be okay with gouging out an orphan's eyes. Yeah,
True.
fair enough.
Troll orphans.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Wiley was very young.
I, I, hmm, uh-huh. Well, I know that now. Mhm.
Power move. Yep.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Satyrs aren't liked by, like, anyone in Warcraft? Or... Okay, then yeah, it's definitely not a problem. If no one likes this particular race because the entirety of the race... Oh,
Yeah. They did
then
a little
yeah,
too much
no.
trolling. Yeah.
So quite literally nothing will be missed. Nothing of importance is lost. Got it.
Yeah. Every species has its place. Yep. What a lad. True. Based. Is this what toxic masculinity looks like? Yeah. Based. Yeah. Yeah, there's a bit too many factors to... I mean, yeah, true. I probably have a bit of an issue with it. It kind of depends, I guess. Like, if I got reincarnated into like a fucking Bray hentai world, then yeah, I'd have some issues with it. Mm. Reincarnated into fucking Bible Black, like, yes. I mean, would you rather live or die? Like, in that kind of situation, like, okay. Yeah, if you're gonna be a... Yeah, right. We shouldn't describe it too much on Twitch, but yeah, I'd rather be dead. Yeah, yeah. Me neither. Yeah, like, alright, cool. You know, yeah, I'm just gonna press like the reset button on the reincarnate. Yeah. I'm gonna go commit exit world. Sudo shutdown. Yeah, no. Alright then. Yeah. Excellent. Wait. Oh, sneaky. Your audio isn't on stream. You can't hear you on the stream.
W-
I'm listening to the stream. I can only hear myself.
That
That's
was
not
weird.
good.
Yeah.
Is it working now?
Yeah, it's fine now.
Oh, that was weird. I just had to toggle
Yeah.
it a couple times to make it.
Don't
Interesting.
worry, just turning it off then on again live on stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you didn't really miss anything, Aura.
It looks like at some point my hand might have slammed into my
Well done, Sneaky.
All right. Yeah, I think we're okay. Yeah. All right. Right. Yeah, that's probably when I was drinking. So, when did my audio stop?
Um,
What was the last thing I was saying on stream?
No.
Good question. No idea. Maybe Aura knows.
Sneaky TM. Fuck you.
No clue.
I
Excellent.
thought it was really weird that for some reason, despite the audio being muted, but despite it saying that audio was muted for both of us, it was only muting my mic.
Yeah. That's
I
weird.
had you on as background noise. That's fair enough. Oh well. I mean, I wouldn't even remember what I was saying before because
Yeah.
I've drunk a little bit.
Not enough.
Not enough. Not enough.
So cheers. I'll drink to
Yeah,
that.
so anyway, words and stuff, and he went to the library and started reading all the books, and he exercised really hard, so he was bigger, and he ate a bunch of food,
Oh
and
no, he exercised with us. He had a
yeah.
body of a 5-year-old.
yeah, he had a body of a 5-year-old when he was 3.
Amazing.
And exercise hurt a bunch, and he got his shit kicked in a couple times from the older kids. Yeah, so he's 4. And he's gotten really good at Byakugan. He reads the library constantly.
I just gotta check if the books have updated.
Yeah, you know. There's frequent updates to the historical text.
New book patch just dropped.
Book patch just dropped.
Gotta go check the changelog, my guy. Maybe they changed the meta.
Yeah, so anyway, words and stuff, and then the author has the character realize that the Hyuga incident is happening soon with the Kumo delegation. And so blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. He's waiting. He's waiting. He's waiting. He's waiting. He's waiting. He's going a little bit insane from waiting for so long because he has the mentality of a child.
Amazing.
He's waiting. Blah blah blah. There was an intruder last night. The guards caught him before he got too far and subdued him. Blah blah blah. I wondered why I didn't realize something that was so obvious before. This was the Hyuga clan, a clan of people who could literally see through walls and spot ants from a mile away in 4K. There was no way anyone, no matter how skilled and stealth they were, could successfully sneak into the compound undetected when there was a dozen Hyuga guards patrolling the place and more than 100 inside. It was impossible, not just improbable, but actually literally impossible. Which meant there was no way someone could ever kidnap the clan heir. In other words, the entire Hyuga affair couldn't have actually ever happened. The entire thing was pulled out of a certain author's ass for the sake of entertainment. And because of said author, I had believed him, and I stayed up all night for no reason. It's official.
Lol.
I hate Kishimoto.
What a fucking loser.
So, I don't dislike the story.
It's not like actively bad.
Yeah.
It's passively bad.
Yeah. I like the whole idea that it's a realistic take on Naruto, but the self-insert OC thinks it's canon Naruto, and then obviously gets blindsided by this, but in a way that doesn't actively harm them initially because they did a very safe assumption, actually. One that wouldn't actually put them in danger. So that's okay.
Sure.
Just I feel like this could have been broken up into smaller chapters, personally speaking. Or maybe not, honestly.
Yeah.
I sort of understand where he's going with it with this whole chapter, but he does show a lot of growth. He does show where the kid is getting his knowledge from. He does show where the kid's getting his training from. He does show the kid's actively putting effort into, nutrition and whatnot, and practicing with the Byakugan and all that. So that, I like that. I dig that.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of stuff, I guess during the baby era, that I'm not super enthused by, I guess you could say. The whole self-aware while a baby thing, I'm not a big fan of in general in terms of narrative.
Tired trope.
Yeah. Now, and because they were self-aware while a baby, they miraculously were able to train earlier, and so therefore were just somehow better than everyone else.
Yeah.
Now, I could understand having an adult perspective on things would allow you to beat children. I get that part. But
yeah.
I don't really understand the whole, because I was started as a baby, I was able to do things better than everyone else in my years. Because there's not a lot you can do actively as a baby, especially in Naruto. You can do actively as a baby that would actually make you in a better position than your peers. Because if you're running a military dictatorship with child soldiers, clans would probably generally actually have a nutrition and exercise and training plan for all their kids.
Yeah. I mean, having an adult mind, I guess, is a fairly big advantage because you can get started on things a normal child wouldn't really have the patience for quite a bit earlier, and maybe a bit more consistently.
Yeah, that's true. But the main issue is that until you're around 10 to 13, you don't actually you're not actually really able to do a lot of training, actual build-up training. Like you
Sure.
can be fit. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you can't be fit. You can 100% be fit as a younger than 10-year-old, and you can be very active and just in general
Yeah.
be good going. But you're not supposed to be doing a lot of weightlifting or endurance
Yeah.
training until after the puberty hits, because that's when your body is primed to actually grow and improve on itself
Yeah.
and not just build itself.
Yeah.
Because you can
At the
actually
same
harm
time-
your growth by exercising those things before that point.
Sure, yeah. But like in terms of non like physical development,
Yeah. In terms of
there's a
mental
lot of
development.
things you can that's
Yeah.
a big advantage.
Yeah, like I said,
Um,
I can certainly see and understand why
Yeah.
that sort of thing would benefit you greatly. But at the same time, I'm not super enthusiastic about the whole like 4-year-old reading big tomes and no one batting an eye about this. Like, oh yeah, she just does that. It's like, look, even as was it 4 years old? That was preschool for me, right? Yeah. It wasn't kindergarten was 6 years old. Yeah. I mean, by kindergarten, yes, I was actually sitting down and reading the books they had on display, and I was going to the library for the more basic to read books. And yeah, I did scale up my reading from there, but I was already 6 by that point. By 4 years old, I don't even remember being 4.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't really read before that because I do remember kindergarten enough to the point where I remembered getting into reading in kindergarten, mostly because the children shunned me and didn't like me that much, even back then.
Yeah.
So I kind of just retreated to books.
Yeah.
But
I mean, like, I don't remember it myself, but I've been told like I started reading, like, I mean, decently complex books like about dinosaurs and stuff. When I was like 3, 4. So like by that age, I mean, I guess if you want to stretch it a bit, sure. But like anything like before at least 3, 4, maybe 5, you wouldn't.
honestly, I'm more of a preference of a reincarnation that leads into an awakening. So, up until a certain age, it's a normal person, but then either a traumatic event happens or it just they turn 4 and they like open their eyes and like, oh shit, I'm actually 32.
Yeah, I'm actually a 32-year-old Japanese man who got run over by a train.
Yeah,
Well,
basically,
shit.
right. I'm much more preferential of that sort of narrative because there's like 4 years is a very long time to be mostly immobile, mostly incapable of doing anything, and like generally like you don't really leave your parents' supervision unless your parents are particularly bad. But like you aren't able to like, go out and do a run. You aren't able to like go lift weights. You aren't able to pretty much do anything as a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Like you get to sit there and play with your toys and read your books and maybe play with the neighborhood kids by running around pretending stuff. That's not a lot you can do. And so that means there's going to be a lot of time for internal introspection and narrative. And if you don't have a person go through 4 years of introspective narrative and have them come out be the exact fucking same they started as, like if they don't change at all after 4 years of being able to basically do very little in terms of mental stimulation, and they're just the same person after 4 years, no changes at all. It's just like then just make them wake up at 4. Just make them wake up at 5 or or 6 or make
Yeah.
something happen that makes them wake up or something. Like just skip that, honestly.
Yeah. Makes the things a whole lot easier.
Yeah, it just makes things easier in the narrative of just like, oh, I want to keep their personality the same until this point in time, so just time skip it. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is. Honestly though, this story, I guess it could seem interesting. I'm more worried about the fact that the update rate on it is so slow.
Yeah.
With
I
4
mean, like,
chapters a year, and those 4 chapters amounting to about a half a book.
yeah. I mean, this is the same guy who wrote a Demon Lord Zero.
Oh, that explains why it's so slow. And
Yeah.
actually, and surprisingly, of a level of quality, I will give
Yeah.
credit where it's due. It is a level of quality. But it does explain why it's so slow. Like, when was his most recent story update? I know
It was
Demon
this
Hero
one,
hasn't updated
September
in a long time.
2020.
Really?
Yeah, so like basically a year ago.
Oh, he's moved on to a world full. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Demon Lord Zero. Yeah. May 2020.
Alright, so over the course of 6 years, he wrote 4 books. I mean, that's not bad. Demon's Sword Hero is not bad in terms of update rate of 4 books
Yeah.
in 6 years. That's pretty good.
Yep. Seen worse.
Oh, that explains it. So, Monster was actually his first story, and this is World Full of Monsters is actually the V2 version of that after he finished writing 9 Lives Too Many, Arms Wide Open, and Demon Lord's Hero.
Yeah.
So that is that.
Yeah. Neat.
We can probably cover one more story. So yeah,
Yeah,
World
not
Full of
wrong.
Monsters. I give it my tentative, all right, out of 10.
Yeah, it's like not an immediate tab close, but yeah, not the best either.
Heavy judging. Let's go with a different. Let's go with a Ruby story.
Ah, yes, my liver.
Oh. But yeah, as I was saying, that first chapter definitely does suffer from that point in time where he's a baby, and it's just like doing a lot of introspective narrative where he just kind of seemingly decides he's going to go genocide some people until he gets a Rinnegan.
Yeah.
And then there's basically a training montage where it's like, oh yeah, I ate a bunch of food, I trained a bunch, I read a bunch of books, and now I'm really, really good. Like, okay, I guess.
Yeah. He did a bit of trolling.
A different shade of Ruby. What if Yang was raised by Raven? What if Blake never left the White Fang? Oh, she didn't.
Yeah, still a known terrorist.
Blake ran away from the bombing mission, but she didn't run away from the White Fang.
Yeah.
She went up to the terrorists and said, "My fellow brothers and sisters."
Alhamdulillah, brothers.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, we shall defeat the human infidels once and for all.
Indeed.
Glory to Allah and the Faunus race.
What if Weiss never became a huntress? What if Ruby didn't go to Beacon early? Welcome to a world of new solutions where everything is the exact same except what matters, which somehow still ends up as a Yang times Blake and Weiss times Ruby story.
Epic. What if my liver decided to fail?
Now,
Wouldn't that be a totally horrible ordeal?
Now, this is, in fact, a completed story. It's got 32 chapters, and Around 2 books, I would say. 2 shorter books.
Yeah, I mean, first Harry Potter book, 70 something K. 2
Yeah.
books, yeah.
But is it worth the damn?
No, it's not.
No.
Not at all.
Exactly.
I mean,
So,
we didn't say good books.
yeah, we
right?
didn't say good books. They are books. This is actually a great story to talk about and just not read at all, because
Excellent.
this is an excellent example of what you sounds like an interesting premise, but ultimately, and canon compliant as far as the premise itself goes, but ultimately is a premise that should not really be written. And I say that in that way because Ruby is about 4 girls who are on the same team and go out question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, fall in love with each other, question mark, question mark, question mark, and then defeat all evil. Not really sure how those last 3 bits lead into each other, but they do. According to Rooster Teeth, that is. Now, I will say, so what if Yang was raised by Raven? Let's address this one at a time. So, Yang being raised by Raven, she would not really change. Now, you might be like, what do you mean Yang wouldn't change? Well, I just want to remind everyone that Yang's intro video, she grabbed a man by his balls, threatened to rip them off if he didn't give her the information she wanted to hear. Not the information that he had that she wanted, the information that she wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Even after him saying, I literally don't have this information, she grabs him by the balls and says, are you sure you don't have this information? And he goes, yes, I'm sure I still don't have that information. Like, you have him by the literal balls, and he's still saying he doesn't have the information. I'm pretty sure at that point, he doesn't have what you want him to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that would change if Yang was actually raised by Raven is she wouldn't have mommy issues. Theoretically.
Shockingly, she wouldn't. Yes.
Curious.
She would be obsessed with strength, so she would be basically Virgil.
Oh no.
Yeah, which she's
The
already
storm.
kind of obsessed with strength because
It's a
She's
they
Prozac.
imply
already
heavily that she
basically
enjoys a good
Virgil, and
fight.
she's even lost an arm and has had it replaced by a robotic replacement.
Yes,
and
I
her-
believe we've seen the meme.
yes. I
Yeah,
love
but
that
is
meme.
she the storm that is approaching?
She is in fact the storm that is approaching.
Provoking
Well,
black clouds of
no,
isolation?
technically that's Raven. Quite literally.
Yeah, but Raven doesn't have a kick-ass OST to her name, so.
No, she doesn't. I think the closest thing we got was the fight music between her and Cinder.
Yeah. That fucking Bleach scene where they're just teleporting and blades are clashing. God, I was live with Max and Atin, and we were all watching that together over sync play, and we're all shouting about this fucking Bleach ass bullshit, where it's like we can't even see the fucking fight.
Here's the worst part, Sneaky. The first 3 seconds, like, oh, they're going somewhere, and they dropped it.
Yep.
Like
And
every other part of that volume.
Yep.
Epic.
All right, you're almost there. You're 2 steps from being good, and you tripped back down the hill.
Oops.
Yep.
We thought it was going to be a grand slam, but instead it was a foul ball.
It's now gotten to the point, by the way,
opposite
Sneaky,
direction.
that the best parts of the soundtrack are the vocal songs that aren't ever in the show.
Yep.
So, not including the opener, and not including anything that comes on screen, like, those are the best tracks consistently now for some reason. And once more, I sent you Ironwood's theme from Volume 7.
Yeah.
It tells a better story
Yeah.
than Ironwood's arc.
Yeah.
Like,
And so yeah, we've already covered what if Blake never left the White Fang. She didn't. What if Weiss never decided to become a huntress? Well, then she becomes a semi-successful businesswoman who may or may not kill her father to succeed him.
Yeah, with a massive chip on her shoulder.
And she's got a massive chip on her shoulder, and yeah, she effectively doesn't go anywhere with that. Looks like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, so it's what different shade of Wibby, Arby, different shade of Arby.
I'm not really sure what would happen. Blake stayed with the White Fang. Well, either her conscience would kick in.
No, not stayed, Max. Never left. There's a difference in wording there that's very important.
Because she didn't leave.
She never renounced the White Fang, which technically means she never left it.
Yeah.
She actively tried to rally the White Fang behind her to fight Roman.
Okay, well, either way, if she hadn't run.
Yes. If she hadn't run, that'd be way different. Yes.
If she had, like...
Just imagine if she hadn't run, and then it's like a really serious take on the White Fang, and like Blake ends up assassinating Weiss or something.
I'm gonna make a meme.
Well, there are a couple ways to take it, and the obvious ones are she either becomes just as warped as Adam.
Yep.
Or she deposes Adam, takes over the Veil chapter, and it's like, yo, Sienna, things went like fucking sideways the way we didn't expect.
Cat superiority, hail White Fang.
Revealing that the race war was among the fondest the entire time.
the cat Illuminati will succeed.
Oh god.
Excellent.
That sounds like a good crack pick right there.
The cat Illuminati.
Yep.
And so then what's the deal with like what's the deal with Ruby then? What's supposed to be her deal?
Yeah, that's a good point. So what if Weiss never decided to become a huntress? Well, okay, then she's just not involved with hunters, period. Like, Weiss's whole thing and why she became involved with the hunters, period, was because she didn't want to be a hunter. Weiss originally did not want to be a huntsman. She just wanted to get away from the family. And huntsman was a good way to do that. Like,
no, she'd been training from a young age to be a huntress. She went to
because she wanted
to get away
out.
From her family.
Yeah, because she wanted out from a young age.
No, she wanted to be a huntress, but she also wanted to take over the company. She wanted to get away from Beacon because it meant getting out of Atlas to get out of her father's influence.
Right, but she wouldn't have become a huntress if she didn't go to Beacon.
No, she probably still would have gone to Atlas. She just would have been bitchier about it.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't think so. I honestly read her character, how she's treated everything with RT, and I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, RT lore, but it read more to me as she just wanted out from under her father and out of Atlas. And she wanted that from a young age. Yeah, they blended it with the military. Yeah. And judging by the fact that her dad could just order her back at any point in time and she would comply, clearly means that she wouldn't have never been allowed to go to the Atlas Academy, because then she would have become part of the Atlas military, which Jacques specifically didn't want.
That is... I don't know if this is fan theory or just implications pick up in the show, but Winter going to the military happened entirely because of Atlas Academy.
Yes.
And there was clearly something that Jacques can't stop. So if Weiss had also gone to Atlas Academy, he wouldn't be able to stop her from joining the military as well. And they already made it pretty clear Whitley was going to be the poster child the moment both of the daughters decided we want to be huntresses.
That's fair.
And part of the problem is they don't give us us near enough info on the backgrounds for this. Like, both of our theories hold just as much weight based on what we know
Yeah, pretty
with our
much.
current level of knowledge.
Anyway, so what if Ruby didn't get into Beacon early? Then she has to wait 2 years and the plot doesn't wait for her. And the war is already over with Salem and Beacon's already fallen.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. Because you gotta keep in mind, Patch is where Signal is. So she would have never left the island. So none of the events that would have happened in Vale would happen with her in them. Like, she would have never met Penny. She would have never, stopped Roman at the dock. She would have never stopped Roman at, because you also got to keep in mind, she was also only in Vale that night because her sister was in Vale. Because
Yeah,
she was doing the
no,
whole Roman thing. Outside of the Roman thing, the junior thing.
No, like I'm thinking it through here, and yeah, one, yeah, she wouldn't be in Vale. There's no reason for her to be in Vale at that particular night, but White Fang's Planet Mountain Glen goes on without a hitch.
Yep.
During the Vital Festival, because
Yep.
that's what the trains were for.
Yep.
Fall of Beacon occurs.
Yep.
Osmond probably dies and gets his next reincarnation.
Yep.
Cinder gets the full powers without any complications whatsoever.
Yep.
And we still don't really know Salem's
And
final
Ruby
goal
still hasn't
because
graduated from Signal yet.
in fact,
She skipped 2 years.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
just changing 2 of those variables fucks everything up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because Blake's not there to fuck up Roman's big dock heist.
Yep.
Oh, there we go, Sneaky. See me.
Well,
What happens
Sneaky,
if
the
Blake
fall of
never
Beacon,
left the White Fang?
the fall of Beacon goes on without a hitch, presumably with a slightly lower death count. And the highway incident doesn't occur with the giant robot.
Yep.
I can't believe I'm saying this. It might be a net positive in terms of loss of life and
No, it's definitely a net
and-
negative because you got to keep in mind that the highway incident only occurred because Blake interrupted a Atlas prototype equipment acquirement rally for the White Fang. So which means that during the fall of Beacon, the White Fang would have had access to a lot more of Atlesian equipment that they could have personally used.
no, that's not what that's not what occurred. That wasn't an acquirement thing. That was like, look, we have like extras of these and we have access to Atlas tech.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they destroyed that stuff. Like, they prevented Roman from getting more, first off. And they also destroyed what Roman had. Well, no, I'm saying they prevented it from him getting more because him having to reveal the fact that he openly had acquired prototypes from Atlas would have made Atlas go, oh shit, someone's stolen stuff from us, double security.
No, that doesn't matter though, because those paladins were also AI controlled. Remember? That was the whole point of them breaking into the tower and planting that virus.
Well, yeah, the later prototypes were.
Then there was no.
That was an older model.
That.
Yeah, like I said, like I've said, Max, there is Monty is many things. A writer isn't one of them.
No, he's not. Okay, the one Atlas mech could, in theory, be stolen. So they had access to the prototypes to be like, all right, how do we make up this virus?
Oh, you know what?
Watts was in the.
Actually, thinking about it,
before.
Without the dock incident occurring, James Iron would have had no reason to be able to justify bringing the fleet. So it would have just been Grimm slaughtering all of Vale.
Yeah, I think the docks and the highway incident are what prompted him to do so, in fact.
Yeah, it was.
Man, everything goes completely, even ignoring plot holes, everything goes fucked.
Yeah.
Wow. It's almost
this is what I'm saying, where the premise itself sounds really cool in your head when you first think of it, like, oh yeah, what if like all of these scenarios played out? And maybe one on their own would be kind of interesting. Like, you know, what if Ruby didn't go early and it was just like Team Wooby and +1 random OC character, I guess, or something. And like they had to make it without Ruby holding them together. And man, that wouldn't be really an interesting adventure, to be honest, because they're kind of bitchy.
Be kind of fucking boring.
Yeah, they're kind of a bit boring. So the idea there for Ruby not making it is kind of cool, but at the same time, the execution would just be meh.
Yeah,
And so we'll move on to the next one. What if Weiss was never a huntress? That would also be a situation of, oh, that's kind of cool, but ultimately, meh. If you followed Weiss, it would be a little bit more interesting, because you could do this whole, like, you know, economic sort of political.
If you actually knew what the fuck you were talking about, it could be
obviously,
interesting.
if you knew what the fuck you were
don't,
talking
it's just
about,
like an exercise in retardation.
Give a 7-page essay per chapter on the Chicago School of Economics.
The implications of supply and demand on the dust market.
Yeah, basically. So, you know, that could have been interesting from maybe Weiss's perspective, but again, from Team Ruby's perspective, not enough would have changed to make it, you know, generally deviate from canon too much. So say Blake never leaves. Well, unfortunately, Blake really wasn't a character until season 5. So Blake never leaving, you almost wouldn't notice that she was not in Team Ruby. In that story.
In fact,
she's no longer there, sabotaging efforts.
Yeah. So it's almost like if you close your eyes, nothing's changed at all.
Yeah.
And
As for
so
Yang,
what if Yang was raised by Raven and then ended up being sent to Beacon anyway? And, you know, obviously Ozpin would accept it because it's a way to get to Raven, yada yada.
Yeah. Well, first off, if raised by Raven, she's not allowed anywhere near Beacon if Ozpin's still in charge. Just because of the way Raven is.
I mean, yeah, that's also true. However, it's possible that Yang pulls the whole I'm going to be a stubborn bitch routine and decides that if Raven says don't go to Beacon, what she's going to do is go to Beacon.
Yeah. Well, alternatively, we could also just ignore everything they wrote about Raven and focus on what we first saw of her in Volume 2.
Right, exactly.
Which is a much more interesting character.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Yang has decided to hit her opponents harder during sparring sessions, accidentally sending people to the infirmary every week.
Much. Yeah. There's, again,
Amazing.
really not too much changes with that character, again, because she was already basically like that in temperament and personality.
Yeah,
which is a really little cherry on the fucking top there on the nature versus nurture argument. Thank you, Monty.
Yeah. Yeah, she'd be slightly more aggressive and she wouldn't have the mother issues that she has.
She also wouldn't have her hair trigger.
You know,
get it? It's a hair trigger.
No, she might still have that.
No, Raven would beat the shit out of her.
Vanity.
Get the fuck out.
Maybe.
No, Raven, that is absolutely a quote-unquote weakness that Raven would kick the shit out of her for every time she showed it. So either she would have better control over it, or she would use it to channel her rage and not get blinders.
Yeah. So, common fan theory is like one of the reasons Raven settled down with Yang for a while is because he proved strong enough. You think he'd just go over sometimes, like, I get Yang on the weekends or else? Like, he's shown to not be a pushover.
I'm
you think
sorry.
He'd have any say?
I'm sorry, it's just my brain. You said or else, and my brain immediately just jumps to Raven teleporting in with a portal. Yang turning around going, Raven, no! And then she grabs Yang, throws her through the portal, dabs, and then leaves. She does this every
just child
other
custody
weekend.
battles. It's just child custody battles in the most literal sense.
Child custody deathmatch.
Alright, you know what? I want to see that fic now. Like every other month, Taeyang has to go and beat up half the tribe so he can have Yang for a week.
No, that's how he gets her back. Is he has to go he has to go out, find the tribe, kick the shit out of all of them, and take Yang back. And that's why Raven allows it, because he proved his strength again to take her.
It sounds like it would
Bye.
be really fun to read. Just a collection of one-shots. Just like it jumps through the different years.
wouldn't.
God. The only thing I remember of Blake is her running away a bunch. Yeah,
That's fair enough.
that's pretty much all she
Yeah.
did for the first 5 seasons.
Not with a slight bit of
Yeah.
trolling.
So yeah, honestly, again, so this is just this whole exercise of ours was just to prove my point of premise sounds really cool. Like, oh yeah, what if all these what if situations that would have had major deviations in how the character developed occurred? Sounds awesome, right? But then you actually sit down and you think about it. It's like, well, that character doesn't change. That character doesn't change. That character doesn't show up anymore in the story. That character doesn't show up anymore in the story. So like.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, like the changes are either massive or minor, and when you do them all at once,
Look, it's an absolute mess. Just
Not going
like
to lie, Ruby sounds like it would be better off as a collection of snippets than an actual story. Yeah, it sounds like that Ruby
You
would be
know,
far better off
it's-
as some sort of collection of maybe choreographed fights.
Yes.
it's funny that you mentioned that because the mangas, one of the manga series is just a collection of one-shots
Yeah.
from different
Yeah.
artists and authors, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really weird how that works. Yeah, it's almost like the world's got some really bad development issues, and the person
Yeah,
who originally
it-
created
it-
the world isn't really good at creating worlds, and the people he hired to
Uh,
have the world creation, left to them,
I think his
also really bad at creating worlds.
I think his basic world premise was fine.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. The
But-
basic world premise
but
was
the problem
perfectly
is,
fine.
they talk about how how Monty gave Miles and Carrie like a dozen or so anime,
Yeah,
and he told them this is your homework. But the problem is they didn't really understand. We've
Why
had
he
Star
was
Sneaky.
making
People
them.
use the tropes, but they don't understand what makes the
Yeah.
tropes good. They don't understand how you earn
yeah.
the payoff of the trope.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's actually a very common thing in Western media these days, is the writers of modern media don't understand what the term payoff is and kind of just go, they're having a bad time. Now they're having a good time. And it's like, okay, well, where's the payoff? What do you mean payoff? They're having a good time now. It's like, okay, yeah, but they didn't really
Okay.
solve the bad time. They kind of just started having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, like as has been discussed, boy, that's a lot of damage occurred. Oh, I believe that was at least 2 load-bearing pillars that you just knocked out from under that highway.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anyway.
assholes. Oh, what's that? Cars literally being flipped as a mech is running through them? No, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna ignore that.
We
Okay.
do a slight bit of
Ignore
infrastructure
all
trolling.
damage in the people
It's a slight architecture rearrangement.
Yeah, just
As
just trolls them.
someone with basic knowledge of that, I don't like that. I don't like what you just said. That upsets me.
Architectural rearrangement.
I hate that.
just restructure your.
Don't worry.
I hate it and love it in equal measure.
We've restructured your highway free of charge.
Yeah, slight restructure of your infrastructure. Don't worry about it.
Slight restructure of your infrastructure.
We
Free
made
of
it to a
charge, don't
rollercoaster.
worry.
You're not gonna have to put this on the government budget for next year, so you're welcome.
Jin makes an excellent point actually about Ruby.
Yeah.
There is implication that Yang kept bullies off of her.
Oh yes.
So
Oh yeah. No. Yeah.
that goes away
Yep.
now.
100%. Not only that, Ruby herself even basically sort of implied it as well with her whole letter thing, where she's like, "Oh, none of my friends are responding to my letters now that I'm gone." And it's like, yeah, and she kind of like dropped that subject as well. So that could either be in part a commentary from Miles, Luna, and Carrie about Ruby being aware that her friends maybe weren't entirely her friends, and that she was kind of just holding out a hope that they were.
Yeah.
And that's why she ended up dropping the whole subject, or maybe they just forgot about that and never brought it back up. What else can you expect from diversity hire hunters? Blake, the diversity hire. Ooh, ooh.
I mean,
Oh,
you gotta have some Middle
that
East
has an
representation,
uncomfortable
Sneaky.
ring.
Ooh. Ooh. I don't know if we can
That's
touch that subject. It's a bit spicy.
I'm gonna say we avoid that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Away from the landmine.
Let's
Land
get out of this minefield.
Wait a second. Does Ruby have a good black guy in it?
Flint,
Who?
the trumpet dude.
The trumpet
Max.
dude.
The jazz guy? The guy who was a walking black stereotype?
How is he what?
Jazz.
My father
Yeah,
was
what,
a
you
coal
gotta-
miner. I do jazz. Like,
He is very much a stereotype.
that's a black stereotype. Also,
Then
they
I
kind of
guess
just
I got nothing.
they kind of removed him from the story. Like, he only showed up in that episode and then never again. So.
Oh, no, he came back in volume 7.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
No.
he was one of the ones that was in the trench shot I told you about, because trench warfare works against Grim, right?
The what?
Mm. Oh yes, we are going to World War One. These motherfuckers.
Sneaky, do you not remember when I started complaining about the fact that Atlas was employing trench warfare against
Max,
the
I'm
Grim?
pretty sure I drank that memory away. Okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough, sir.
Look, I mean, like,
Beacon has gone downhill ever since they started teaching critical faunus theory.
Oh god. Okay, we need to stop.
He still has
yeah,
to go.
Oh,
God
Jesus.
damn it.
yeah. I mean, trench warfare would work if you.
Arn,
Yeah.
are you
You
back?
okay there?
He
Yeah.
died for a moment.
Oh, I have been.
Yeah.
I've been there for the whole time. I just haven't been talking because I really don't care.
No,
about
you
reading.
just talked. You
literally
said
cut.
trench warfare
Yeah.
would work if, and then you cut
Oh.
off.
Then you just
Oh,
stop.
I mean, right. So if you fire 4 million shells, that would probably work. But
You got. You got.
hang on. 4 million shells in 4 days. Thanks. There you go. We're done that far.
Alright.
That would probably work.
Okay. So the problem is that the Grim are theoretically never ending.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, if the artillery barrage is also never ending. Victory.
I don't think they have
no,
Imperium levels of
they-
artillery.
They don't.
Well, I mean, that's not like a they problem.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
in
My
fact,
brain is currently just when you reminded me that that Flint is in the trenches. My brain just instantly was just skeleton toot. Oh no, it's a Grim. Toot, toot, toot. Oh no, it's a bigger Grim. Toot 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 toot.
Machine gun doot.
Machine gun dude. Yes.
The Doom logo instead of Doom, it's Doot.
Doot.
That would be great. Just in the middle of the fucking battlefield. It's like the fucking Mordhau bard. with their loots, just in the middle of the battlefield, Flinch just killing Grim with each dude.
Or what about Duke Eternal?
Dude Eternal, yes.
Yeah, just check Discord. There you go.
I'm pretty sure I can actually play that.
I
yeah.
love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound stupid. Has anyone made a mod for 2016 or Eternal where
Yes.
all of the weapon sounds just replaced with different brass instruments?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't doubt it. It's actually a real thing in the game. I
Yeah.
think. The Do It Revenant.
Back on to
Yes.
clip this shit.
But anyway, as I was saying, so basically, as I'm trying to clear out here, Urgit's really garbage in writing.
True.
The whole idea of all of this is, on the surface, sounds cool, but the second you even really look into anything of it at all, it's pretty garbage. The story is listed as drama romance, which I'm kind of really questioning, because if Blake is a bandit in Mistral, Yang's a bandit in Mistral, Blake never leaves the White Fang, so she's either in Atlas still or Vale. Weiss is in Atlas, and Ruby is on a fucking island, isolated. None of them are ever going to meet in any sort of relevant time period. So how the fuck does it end up as a drama romance story where Yang times Blake and Weiss times Ruby occur?
Pain.
Like, explain this to me, author. How the hell are you going to have characters who you just stranded on 4 cardinal fucking directions from each other? How are you going to explain them meeting?
It's quite simple, Sneaky. A series of unfortunate events.
I mean, yes, honestly, it's a series of unfortunate events is actually a deconstruction of that trope. Because it's a parody, but B, ultimately the author, spoiler alert, it's like 13 years old story series, so fuck you. The author ultimately reveals at the end that it actually was a unfortunate series of events. And that everyone was kind of just misunderstood and misaligned, and like all of the details weren't there, and etc. etc.
Sneaky correction.
Yeah.
The books are 22 years old. At least the first one. Published September 30th, 1999 to October 13th, 2006.
Yeah, I started reading that series when it came out.
You are old.
Yes.
That came out when I was bored.
Yeah. And that, my friends, is the sound of a soul escaping a body.
Without the character development of Weiss hating Ruby as a leader and growing up, she's gonna be a stuck-up bitch who wouldn't give Ruby the time of day. Yes, also that. Like, there's a lot of stuff that wouldn't change about these characters if these backgrounds changed. There's also a lot of stuff that would change about these characters with their backgrounds, with their backgrounds being different. And, Weiss would be basically an unmitigatable bitch. And so it's just like not even fun to read.
Yeah.
The real series of unfortunate events was the adults that had brain rot from reading Harry Potter. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we're gonna stop tonight with that.
Thank God.
I'm not gonna read the story because I honestly couldn't be fucked to read this story, because it's just, the summary is just so not good.
Yeah.
Chapter 31. There's a lot of things wrong with your physics explanation in your author's note. Alright, well, let's go check out Chapter 31, actually. So I do want to see him get his his stuff wrong.
Get the physics wrong.
Good story. I really liked this Yang. The innocence combined with badassery was a nice juxtaposition. I also liked Weiss too. I think she took the path in the story as opposed to being a huntress is very believable. I would have preferred a larger mention of Ruby's Atlas Academy team. Why the fuck would Ruby go to Atlas Academy? That is such a...
How and why?
She spent 4 years with them, and I can't imagine her not being at least slightly friends with them. So apparently a time skip of 4 years goes by at some point where Ruby goes through Atlas Academy and just apparently completely separates from her team post that. Even if all three went on to join the military, the only mention we got was her stealing the other red-themed girls' clothes. One thing I thought of, since robots are smart enough to be soldiers and police, they could also be mine workers. Yes, literally everyone and their mother has pointed this out. I get this would be a lot more expensive. It would actually be less expensive.
It would be way cheaper, yeah.
But one of the many big problems with Ruby is that a society capable of mass-producing androids is so much less advanced everywhere else, for some reason. After all, self-driving cars and airships are easier to do than androids. Also, that's actually also a very good point as well.
I mean, especially airships.
Oh yeah, Jin also raises a good point. Why is Yang innocent after being raised with murderous, stealing bandits? Yeah.
Yeah.
There seems to be some. I've taken a quick peek through Ruby's chapter and Yang's, just a quick glance.
Yeah.
It seems like Dad died or disappeared. So I guess he was there for part of her life, and Raven just picked her up when he died or some shit. I don't fucking know.
Okay, that doesn't mean she wasn't raised among bloodthirsty bandits for a good portion of her childhood development, though.
Oh no, I know, but like that's the only thing I think of is that Tai Yang had to have had some sort of large influence.
So Ruby's
But
an orphan,
and I'm not sure why.
and she ends up in Atlas?
Somehow.
See, this is actually, I know this is going over our time period, but I'm actually got so many gripes with this story. So this is another thing I'm talking about here. When you have your AU premise where these are the divergences, don't go on and then make more AU shit occur. Like, oh yeah, Tai Yang's also dead. Why the fuck is Tai Yang also dead? There is a critical mass of divergence where at a certain point it becomes too much for the story, and it's just like not even a Ruby story anymore almost. Like these characters are basically not Team Ruby anymore in almost any form or fashion. Except they are apparently still Team Ruby. Because they still get the other to be Team Ruby. Despite all of their major divergences that would have never seen them ever meet. But the author apparently included enough AU bullshit in to force them to meet, effectively. Which, very cool, author. Ways to defeat your own fucking premise.
Epic.
So anyway, physics explanation. The hardest thing for me to write was Ruby and Yang fighting the White Fang bosses. The world of Ruby operates on video game logic. Its Denzians understand how these things work, at least on an instinctual level. Not at all, judging by John being shown and having absolutely no instinctual understanding of Aura or his semblance at all, period, ever.
Epic.
But I really struggled with how Yang and Ruby would phrase it. Good thing Ruby plays video games a bunch, so she was able to tell people things about the world that they should have already known with video game words.
That is fucking stupid.
For the curious, the semblance I came up with for the specialist Yang. Wait, why did Yang go on to become an Atlas soldier?
Keep reading.
Oh, the specialist Yang and Ruby fought. Okay, commas are important, people.
Yeah, I mean, would it be needed there? I don't think it would be needed there.
It wouldn't be needed there, but it's
you just stopped halfway through the sentence.
It's called Adaptation. It was inspired by Maria's semblance from Volume 6. Not so much in function, but in the fact that it allowed for something subtle yet powerful. The specialist's semblance allows her to mimic a useful aspect of someone she is fighting, like Ruby's reflexes or Yang's strength. Mimic? How would that
mimic
work?
your muscles real quick.
Yeah, let me go mimic your muscles and nerves. What?
Yeah, that muscle. Copy, paste. There you go.
Without the authority of a school backing Ruby as leader, no one will ever listen to her, and Yang would only ever pay lip service to listening to her. Yeah, I mean that too. But also apparently they didn't go to Beacon. Like Ruby went to Atlas, and Weiss didn't go to any school, and Blake was a terrorist, and Yang was a bandit
Inshallah,
that
brother.
ended up in Atlas. Maybe.
Yes. Curious.
It's very potent, but it has limitations. Like, she can only take on a single trait at a time, and she doesn't have any control over which trait she takes. Okay, but how would her... Look, I know there's gonna be a lot of hand wave when it comes to, like, you know, spiritual and soul aspects, but if it's like, okay, my semblance takes a useful aspect of the person's body from the person I'm fighting and adapts it to me so I can use it to fight them. Okay, fair enough. I also don't have any control over what I take. Okay, I mean, I guess fine, but it's like, you really wouldn't need control over what tribute you take, because it's not like, oh, I'll get the attribute of having blonde hair, because that's not a useful attribute of the person you're fighting. Like,
if that's the most useful tribute, then wow, you're really beating up someone.
Like, you are somehow beating up a cripple who's paraplegic or something, like
a blonde paraplegic cripple. Like,
blonde paraplegic cripple, yeah.
Yeah, maybe you should you know, stop that. I don't know. Don't beat up the disabled. Or
yeah, but it's just
I'm
like,
not your dad.
Just don't be disabled.
Just don't be disabled, lol. What are you doing?
Crony.
Yeah. Just build a house.
Just stop
don't
being
be cold.
It's blah 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 limitation. She doesn't have any control over which kind of trait she gets. Okay, because that's the other part I said. Say if someone's running at you really fast. Usain Bolt's not that strong.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
He go fast, but he's not very strong.
Like, so you're not gonna get their strength because it's not useful to get someone who's weak strength if they're really fast. Like, that's not a useful adaptation. If you are phrasing it as you have yourself said, useful adaptation, then if you are going to get someone who's fast running at you, you're going to get the fast trait from them.
I mean, depending on how much you want to nitpick, technically, if that speed comes from having strong legs, in that case you would get a form of strength from just
right.
not.
Yes, but you're not.
Like,
but you're still going to get their speed from them. Is my point. Like, you're not.
Yeah, but by getting their leg strength.
Right. But you're not going to be like, oh no, I got the fast person's strength. My adaptability trait is so random. It's like, no.
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 You're just retarded.
You're just retarded. Yeah. It takes a moment or two to start working, so it's not very good against sudden danger like gravity.
Ah, yes. I hate it when gravity just suddenly...
No amount
dangerous.
of adaptation from someone would allow you to resist gravity. I'm
gonna fucking lift weights.
It doesn't matter how strong
I'm gonna train until I can
or
beat
fast
gravity.
or your
Fuck
reflexes or your flexibility. You can't out dodge gravity. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna put a 2 who
That
would dodge
sounds
the
like
rain.
what it talk to me, Sneaky.
Loser talk, yeah.
Just
Defeat
dodge
this
gravity.
gun. Yeah,
Forehead.
you know, I mean, just play 2 who, lol. Just get good. Dodge the rain.
Just dodge gravity. Flex on gravity. Yeah. Just use your muscles until gravity stops.
Exactly. Meme on gravity. Kill God. Do trolling.
Science nerds. I had fun contemplating the intersection between magic and physics in this chapter. I'm speaking, of course, of Yang's mid-fall transformation from a person to a golden eagle.
Ah, yes, that breaks
What?
quite a lot of laws of physics right there.
Which is a lot less than average than a human female. So what happens to the good old formula of mass times acceleration when 100 pounds of mass vanishes? My answer is the force would hold constant and the acceleration would increase, or acceleration would hold constant and force would decrease. Neither, you fucking halfwit! We've already calculated what terminal velocity is, you absolute shit heap!
Yeah, if you reduce the mass, you would also reduce the acceleration. Or no, wait, reduce the force, obviously.
No, it's not only that, it's just the speed wouldn't change, however, you would still fall at the same rate.
Well, in a vacuum, maybe.
Well, obviously,
but
if you turn into a bird whose main method of flight is catching air as it's falling, yes, obviously your speed would decrease. But the point being is that if you're trying to calculate the terminal velocity difference between a golden eagle and a person falling from a cliff, both are just falling, naturally falling, with nothing catching them in the air. They would be falling at the exact same speed despite their difference in mass. His supposition is that they would be falling at a different speed because they have different mass. And that's just factually incorrect. They both have the same terminal velocity.
Yeah, well, in a vacuum, yes. Without air resistance or any counter forces, yes.
Yes, obviously as well. Yes, obviously in a vacuum. But at the same time, you also have to know that she is falling as a person first, and then she turns into a golden eagle. Despite the fact that she's bleeding off mass, she would in fact continue falling at the same rate because the forces decreased on her at the same rate.
Yeah, more or less. Mass doesn't really matter. Unless you're.
Would Miss Militia be pro-Trump? Probably.
Would hope so.
A lot of immigrants were. So
True.
There's a high chance of it. It's just, I think it's really dumb how this guy is just being like, oh, I'm so smart, I did lots of calculations for something that already fucking exists.
He did lots of calculations and all of them were
He did lots of calculations and all of them were wrong. Yeah.
It's like his brain is fast, so he's wrong faster.
Yeah. Alright, well, I got that out of my system, so, you know what? Thank you everyone for showing up. I'll see you on Tuesday for more, because, of course, there is always more, and it does, in fact, always get worse.